with a very warm welcome once again. We are into the Venus retrograde start onwards. And I'm sure you all know a little bit about astrology. In case if you have any doubts, after I've spoken to you all about it, I would willingly be answering to all your queries. Now, we need to understand that retrogrades are never something to fear. Rather, they are a gift from the universe that invites us to reflect on what needs adjustment or attention in our lives. As I reiterated in my videos, life is not about predictions. Predictions are for people who do not know how to plan. Whereas when we work in accordance to the universal intelligence, we have to lead the life the way we feel or we deem fit. So these are like navigators in our life. So all retrogrades are famous for from the past. So Venus retrograde will bring up the money or the love issues, seemingly out of nowhere. So try to retrograde energy. It's actually an ideal time to revisit old conversations, deal with old emotions, and rethink your approach to what's not working. Now, Venus begins her retrograde today in the sign of Leo, the 2nd, 2023, and stations direct on September 3rd, 2023. So we have full 2 months with ourselves. Venus retrogrades every 18 months, spending approximately 40 days in her descent. Most notably, for summer 2023, Venus, the planet of love, is shifting into reverse gear through the ardent, passionate, outrageous zodiac sign of Leo. Now, this is definitely going to shake up the love matters as we know it. Leos love to be loved and adored more passionately than most of us. So now when Venus is stationed and backspinning in Leo, it makes all of us question our worth or how worthy we are. This summer's Venus retrograde cycle is your chance to embody the confidence, wisdom, patience, and kindness that we desire from others. Do unto others as you would have it done to you. So Venus impacts your love, money, and aesthetics as it moves through each zodiac sign every 30 days or so, bringing a fun, fresh boost to a love life and money management. But when it experiences a slowdown or a backspin every year and a half, there is a notable shift in the Venus energy, making it an ideal time for a review of Venus themes, which comprises of money and your honey. That's your love life. So this is a time to take a reality check, both on our quality of love and quantity of finances, or I would say management of finances. So for 40 days, Venus, the planet of love, unions, justice, and aesthetics, will undergo an inward journey. Our relationship to beauty and pleasure gets a very realistic view. It's time to pass through our heart in order to understand the connections that enhance rather than dull our sheen, our personality sheen. So relationships that uplift rather than stress or drain our energies. Instead of looking outside for validation, make yourself your own muse. Just observe the universal disciplines and diktats. So passed on July 17, 2023, North Node entered Aries. Just understand the discipline of the universe. July 17th, we had the North Node entering Aries, and South Node entered Libra, switching signs. That is the 1st and the 7th, this sign of me versus you, or me versus the others. So the North Node left Taurus and moved into Aries, and the South Node left Scorpio and moved into Libra. Now, this was one of the most important transits of the year when the lunar nodes changed signs. Something fundamental about our priorities and focus also shifted. Now, the lunar nodes are a soul's compass. They show us the overall direction in life. The north node points towards the future and the south node towards the past. So our life is nothing else but a continuous pendulum between our past and our future, whereas we need to balance it in the present. So when the lunar nodes change signs, they draw our attention to a specific area of our life, asking us to integrate the lessons of the opposite signs. In this case, Aries and Libra. So the Aries and Libra are the signs of me versus the other. The upcoming 18-month transit is definitely going to help us find the middle ground between doing things for ourselves and also maintaining healthy boundaries and having mutually beneficial relationships. Now, the lunar nodes highlighted a certain pair of houses in our natal chart, the houses where we have Aries and Libra that needed rebalancing. So again, all about what you feel, how you feel, measuring your comfort levels, both with money and honey. So literally speaking, now when Venus is transiting the sign of Leo, albeit backwards, whose Lord is Sun, makes us weigh our ego against the world. And I agree, ego is bad and we need to eliminate it. But this Venus in this particular sign, especially going retrograde, helps us understand how to respect ourselves through our ego. We need to question ourselves of what are we, who are we, and what are the people that, are we becoming a people's pleaser at the cost of misbalancing our inner energies? For we can never be happy in a relationship if we are not being respected or cared for as much as we love or care others. So the illusion or perception gets more clearer. In life, the perfect equanimity comes when we are taking as much as we are giving. Confidence levels in life are improved when we are capable of taking care of ourselves independently through the resources that we generate. So harnessing and doing course correction in finance is also important during this time. And that is the call of the hour, balancing your love life and your money life. So in short, money and honey always go hand in hand. Now, today when Venus has gone retrograde, and you will see it's at 28 degrees Leo, this transit is very profound and important. Venus only goes retrograde once every 1.5 years. And when it does, it impacts us immensely. Venus is our subjective inner world. It's all about our feelings, how we feel about things and people, what we like and dislike, what we value, what we find important and relevant. We all know what we want, right? Well, most of the time. So when Venus goes retrograde, all this subjective inner reality is up for questioning, up for review. The questions that arise in our mind are all about what's important and close to our heart, close to our being. And while, of course, some people have sudden changes of heart, they break up or experience a more clearer picture about the person in question, about the person they're involved with. Now, Venus retrograde is not necessarily about going back to your exes or going bankrupt. It's only about reviewing your money, which is important as it is a framework we use to value our things. Our inner world prompts us to realize what is still relevant for us and what is not, what needs to change, what really matters to us. This is not only a great time for self-reflection, contemplation, but also of deepening our relationships with others. Now, how this Venus retrograde will help you unleash your sheen? Everyone has Venus in their charts, and the zodiac sign it occupies determines each person's likes and dislikes. Now, along with Mars, Venus is the planet that gets to decide who your ideal partner is, or what kind of an ideal partner you would like to have, and what type of courtship you would respond to. Venus also depicts your sense of style and aesthetics, but at a deeper level, it speaks of your personal truth, your personal values. What's more, this planet of feminine nature also defines your ability to attract money and what you spend or how you spend. Because this is a planet of love, sex, beauty, glamour, indulgence, and money, which means all of these themes are very relevant in our lives, and they will be affected by the illusionary backward spin of this Venus when she is retrograde. This exercise from July 22nd to September 3rd will have us reclaiming our confidence, our creativity, and our inner sovereignty, and maybe rummaging through its life's proverbial process. You definitely need to ruminate at times, but it is okay as long as you are either putting closures or making new beginnings. So Leo is ruled by our solar system's brightest light, the sun. And Leo is a sign that cannot help but live life to the fullest or wants to live life to the fullest. The basic nature of being radiantly joyful, liberal are the main themes or ingredients of their inner core, making them fiercely proud and confident. They thrive on love and love to live life to the fullest, rather than being in charge at home, work, and play, thus making them very theatrical and creative at the same time. So Venus retrograding in Leo colors itself meticulously, like all planets, whichever sign they are in, they color themselves in that particular theme. Now, Venus retrograding in Leo colors itself so meticulously and focuses the spotlight or wants us to focus on our inner selves. We are all urged to focus for a change on your inner being and making amends wherever it's necessary to live life which makes you comfortable and happy. Remember, the universe gives chances to each one of us to make amends and seize opportunities that help us get closer to our own truth. Build relationships that help you grow. Cut off relationships that constrict you inwardly and do not recognize your true worth. Be proud of the person you are. Now, each time Venus slows down and stations retrograde, its energies saturate the atmosphere, because of which a yearning for union or relationship becomes especially potent during these periods, even though the retrogrades typically turn our attention inward. The reflective tone of this journey helps us to fall in love with unclaimed parts of ourselves in order to awaken and give our inner child the royal treatment. And that is where your spiritualism actually gets awakened. And that is when you actually learn the art of spiritualism. And learning the art of spiritualism basically means that true spirituality lies in the art of living alone. So in the process of life, we tend to do a lot of repetitive work, which can make life dull and boring. In that boredom, mistakes are made willingly, unwillingly, which you may regret later on. Every 18 months, when Venus retrogrades, it directly questions our hidden desires and the truth. And Venus retrogrades are an opportunity to reconnect with our internal truth and urges us to tap back into the inspiration, the pleasure, and creative energies that make for our real potential and talents. So when we discuss planets in astrology, then Venus, being subjective, clearly defines our feelings about not only life, but the ingredients that make it spicy, like our values in relationships and finances, or our values towards relationships and finances. It's important to understand what is happening in our life and then doing what makes it worth your time on this earth. For some of us, sure, it's going to be a very hard hitting, especially if you have never cherished your life or lived the life of righteousness within your might. So every 18 months, you're reminded to do course corrections that will help you lead a life of health, wealth, and happiness. But with great clarity comes great responsibility. We all need to heal our love life, improve our self-confidence through our attitudes towards finances and your own self. Healing is a word with a lot of positive connotations, but one needs to remember and keep in mind that to reach that equanimity of mind and body, we need to reflect first, which can be painful initially, but eventually it gives a closure to the past and a renewal to a new life. So opportunities are given by the universe to seize them. You need to clear your emotional baggage. So if you feel there are conflicts in your relationships that require mending or social connections that need to be addressed, then now is the time to do so. And you don't have to be angry or fearful or anxious about anything. You have to just do it calmly, but face you must. So before which this retrograde reminds you of your self-respect. Since the retrograde has come just after the nodes transit of Aries and Libra, it's a gentle reminder beforehand that look after your own interests and energies. If a situation or person gives you happiness and confidence, by all means strengthen it or have a clear-cut communication. Or else it is time to rethink and value your own self. Extricate yourself from negative vortexes and people who can drain you and slow down from your process of discovering your spiritual energy. Now, chances are that this retrograde will shine a light on some of the scars on your self-esteem. Basically, this planet during its retrogrades wants you to forgive yourself. Let go of your shame or guilt or fears and find the courage to love yourself in all your flaws and imperfections. Love yourself just the way you are. This retrograde will address the trauma that has held you back from truly expressing yourself. And by learning how to love yourself more deeply, you're also teaching yourself how to love others more deeply. Because remember, this is an age of Aquarius. What you do for yourself or what you desire for yourself, you have to make sure that it is benefiting the world around you. So by the time this retrograde ends on September 3rd at exactly 12 degrees Leo again, so much of the crisis that you've been experiencing will begin to make so much more sense. In fact, the issues may even be fully resolved. And if you find that your values no longer align with your situation, this retrograde will show you on how to find the strength to set yourself free and move on. It's all about energies. The universe and you are all about energies. So the next 2 months gives a chance of renewal of energies for all zodiacs, yet Leo will be impacted the most. After which Taurus, because Venus is the Lord of Taurus, Virgo as Venus, which is never much away from Mercury, the realization may be far too many. For Scorpio, Venus is the Lord of finances and career, hence issues relating to them will be of paramount importance. So the 4 main zodiacs that are going to be affected are basically Taurus, and then we have the Leo, of course, we have Scorpio, and last but not the least, Aquarius. Though I must remind you that an impact is going to happen to each and every one of us in our own degree variance. Now, specifically for Leo, it's bound to bring up confusion surrounding their identity and self-confidence, despite the glamour and the bravado that's associated with this zodiac sign. They have a tendency to let rejection negatively impact their sense of self and to overthink what everyone is thinking about them. Now, this retrograde encourages them to work through some self-esteem issues that have been clouding their judgment and hindering their ability to connect with others in a healthy and meaningful way. Now, chances are these self-esteem issues are at the core of so many issues that they have been experiencing in every other aspect of their life. Doubling up on the self-love while Venus is retrograde, they won't be sorry. So Venus just wants us to know that the Leos deserve better, both for themselves as well as from others. But that also means learning how to take your ego out of the situation. Well, for Taurians, if you're a Taurus, especially a Taurus rising, this upcoming retrograde is hitting extremely close to home. Venus, which is your ruling planet, and whenever something happens to the planet of love, it inevitably has an impact on you. They might feel as if their entire life is retrograding during this time. With that being said, this retrograde is shining a light on the unresolved conflicts that linger in the fourth house of home and family, driving them to strengthen their sense of belonging through love, honesty, and engaging with their personal life in a way that demands improvement. They may not be getting along with everyone at home, and that's okay, because this retrograde is actively encouraging them to find a solution to what's been bothering them. So if they can dig through the drama and find the love, this retrograde will help them find their way back home. And more importantly, they will get connected with themselves in a very profound way. So for Scorpio, well, they have been feeling of late less than stellar about their career. Chances are they've been questioning whether they are on the right professional path and overthinking the level of publicity their work has been receiving. The Venus retrograde will reorient their lives when it comes to their career goals, their professional standing, and the image they project for the world to see. So if they've been dealing with setbacks at work, this retrograde will be the reversal they have been waiting for. However, if they have been operating in a way they don't feel proud of, this retrograde calls for attention to what they should do differently. So either way, this retrograde will provide, they have so many of the answers they have been seeking, especially if their professional projects feel that they're moving in a direction which they're not comfortable about. It's all about finances for Scorpions. Now for the Aquarians, there's a strong impact. This retrograde is famous for shining a light on relationship issues and resurrecting conflicts that they may have thought were already forgiven. So while Venus retrogrades through the seventh house of partners, allies, enemies, and spouses, people in their life are just bound to pick fights with them as they are with them. So although their instincts is often to avoid a situation that feels messy or dramatic, the Venus retrograde will force them to find common ground and compromise. New relationships are forming during this time and will require them to be more open and honest about their wants and needs. So letting go of surface level connections in order to deepen the right ones and make space for new ones is advisable for you. So prepare for old lovers and old friends also to pop out from nowhere. Even though you may be receiving all kinds of mixed messages. However, they could also find out that someone has been harboring resentment towards them. Either which way, get it all out in the open, address the issues, and you may end up finding a solution to the problems that you face. And it is important to also reflect within and make your boundaries with people around and gain the closure that you've been waiting for. This period is encouraging them to understand their relationships on a deeper level. So it is advised to be gentle with yourself and those you are in connection with, but try to see things as they really are too. Now, Venus retrograde for each one of us is here to show us how your life can change when you open yourself up to love, trust, and growth, starting with yourself, loving yourself, trusting your potentials and talents, and also trusting that you can grow and make a profound effect in the world, or at least return back to the world in a much more constructive way. You may find it difficult to give yourself and others the grace during this time, but it's important to lead with love. So when we prioritize ourselves and act out of love, the whole world benefits from us. So awaken your spirituality by taking this vital internal step forward. The planets never force us against our will. The universal discipline in its consistent journey gives us hints and nudges, but then it's ultimately up to us if we choose to follow them.